Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Escondido City Council. Please rise for a moment of reflection and remain standing for the flag salute.
Yes, please join me in a moment of reflection. We come together tonight to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to serve here in the city of Escondido. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community of backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, and different futures, yet one common goal, that is the betterment of this city. We come together tonight to seek guidance, wisdom, and discernment during deliberations that transpire this evening, and in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Fitzgerald, Councilmember Joe Garcia, Councilmember Christian Garcia, and Mayor White. May they be granted peace and wisdom as they lead our city into a bright and prosperous future. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is called to order, and we'll do a quick roll call. Councilmember Fitzgerald. It says, hang on. Now you're good to go. Councilman Joe Garcia.
Present.
Councilman Christian Garcia.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Martinez is absent this evening, but I, Mayor White, am here. That'll take us to our presentations, and we'd like to welcome up Interfaith, who will give us an informational update on the CUP changes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Council members. It's great to be back with you today. Interfaith Community Services greatly appreciates the partnership with the city. And we appreciate that through a time where we had disagreement and had challenges, we reconciled, came together, and we appreciate the unanimous approval of this council in January of city-initiated modifications to our conditional use permit of our 550 West Washington headquarters. You asked that we return about 6 months after that to share an update, and that's what we're here to share tonight. As we put the report together, we really identified 3 themes: communication and collaboration being critical to our successful partnership, the city and Interfaith. Through that, being able to provide, through your support, life-changing services and safe operations that ultimately provide community enhancement and are made possible by the engagement of our community and are engaging with community in different ways. In the picture there is one of our homeless outreach teams outreaching here near City Hall. So stepping back, Interfaith just completed our fiscal year at the end of June last year in partnership with Escondido, with Caring People of Compassion, local faith communities. We you helped more than 22,000 individuals. This includes nearly 1,000 veterans, more than 5,000 children, more than 5,000 seniors, and other adults. Looking at the city-initiated modifications of the conditional use permit, your approval of that permit began a process that required Interfaith to take some additional steps. So we recorded the declarations and restrictions on our deed. The conditional use permit was recorded with the County of San Diego. That's number 1 on your screen there. We also created and submitted both security and operations management plan as well as a public right-of-way mitigation plan. City staff provided extensive comments and feedback. We returned a revised version of that and expect to reach a finalization of those 2 items soon. And very importantly, we established clear points of contact between Interfaith and City for referral for service. Specifically with the police department having established liaisons at Interfaith Community Services and a mechanism for referring individuals into our programs and services. One of the issues that led to a lot of question and concern in the past was the area around our 550 West Washington campus. Part of the modifications to the conditional use permit require that Interfaith staff conduct hourly perimeter checks. We have 2 staff on site at all times that the gates are open, and overnight we have 1 staff providing these exteriors checks, new signage, and then individuals are, all the people we serve understand that they are not allowed to litter or camp within 200 yards of our campus. And any individuals who are in that area, our homeless outreach teams have been engaging them throughout the last 6 months. And they understand that if they're going to be able to continue to access services, they're not able to be in those areas. The result has been a significantly improved exterior, not just around our building, but in the 200-yard radius beyond. We hired additional staff to support engaging, assessing, and supporting every individual coming for our morning meal services. We reduced sack lunch distribution to morning only, and all of the sack lunches that we provide now have the Interfaith logo stamped on them, along with a reminder to please dispose of properly. These lunches were prepared by a local doctor and her family, dropped off this afternoon, and they also have inspirational messages on them and, of course, a nutritious meal for the people we're serving. These are now provided only during the morning meal service. I'm going to come back to this in a moment, but looking at that morning meal service, since we began registering all clients, we registered 811 clients in the 6 months from January to June that this CUP initially went into effect. More than half of those individuals have since engaged in other programs and services. So it's a significant strengthening of how we're connecting people to resources that can help them. What are those resources? Well, at the 550 West Washington campus, we're providing these basic needs support, but with your support of our conditional use permit, we're also providing self-sufficiency, rental assistance, tax assistance, helping seniors, veterans, kids, the clients we were talking about earlier. That's nearly 1,500 people engaging in these services just in the last 6 months. This is January to June. A lot of people don't know that we are able to provide and help individuals complete their tax returns. That was done out of the 550 West Washington location for more than 500 people, returned almost $1 million into our local economy through those filings. We prevented more than 100 individuals from falling into homelessness by providing rental assistance, case management to help them with their situation. And you can see 164 individuals engaging in employment support activities. Want to also briefly touch on the work that has happened around addiction treatment and helping people connect with addiction treatment services. Thanks to the approval of City Council, we were able to expand our withdrawal management services, our detox program. What did that mean? It meant that our federally funded SAMHSA addiction-focused outreach team, they were able to engage over a 6-month period, this is 6 months here, 188 individuals, and of those 188 who they assessed and screened, all here in Escondido, 140 were able to get into our longer-term residential treatment program. That is entirely, that high percentage, the result of your support allowing us to expand access to detox. No longer is it great that you want help, can you come back next week? We always can do same-day admissions. It is an absolute game changer. Looking at specifically that detox expansion, this is a quarterly update. We're providing quarterly updates to the city on that program as requested by council. So with over the first quarter of the expansion, this is March to May, we brought in 141 individuals. 58 of those were from the streets of Escondido. All Escondido referrals are prioritized. No Escondido's referrals have been turned away due to lack of space or beds. You have 72 successful completions, about a 60% success rate in that first quarter. And then really important, we heard the concerns shared by some council members about the fear or the concern that expanding access to treatment could bring individuals from other communities, and they may not always be successful in that treatment, and they could end up unsheltered on our streets. And of course, nobody wants that. So we're pleased to be able to share that there were actually, in the first quarter, only 2 unsuccessful exits out of our detox where individuals were confirmed to go back to unsheltered homelessness in Escondido, though there were 7 individuals for whom we don't have data on. And when we look at the people who came from outside of Escondido, 100% of them were successfully provided transportation back to their communities of origin when that was when that was needed, when they weren't going into a longer-term treatment program. I think it's important to also look at the net impact here. If we go back, we had 58 individuals from Escondido come into the detox. That's that first bullet point. Only 2 were unsuccessful and went back to homelessness. We're not sure where 7 individuals went, but we know that 49 of those individuals successfully completed detox and or did not return to unsheltered homelessness here in Escondido. So you have a net positive impact of 49 people who were on the streets who have successfully completed the program. We will continue and are continuing to provide these quarterly reports to the city. A big part of our collaboration with the city is working closely with police. This is a photo that was taken at probably 3:45 in the morning during the point-in-time count back in January. Police were integrally closely involved in helping us to identify everyone who was unsheltered on the streets of Escondido that day. We were thankful to ultimately discover and realize a 25% reduction in unsheltered street homelessness. That is a result of the partnership that the city has with Interfaith and other providers doing this work. We've met multiple times with police leadership and with the COPS unit teams, strengthening referrals. One of the referrals was by the COPS unit for a family, a single mom experiencing homelessness here in Escondido who was pregnant at the time of referral. We were able to bring her into our family shelter safely, and she was able to safely welcome their new child on Mother's Day this last year, thanks to your support and the partnership that we have between the city and Interfaith Community Services. It was also requested that Interfaith engage with local community members to go even further in beautifying and improving the community around our 550 West Washington campus. This is pictures of one of our community cleanups in partnership with street stewards. We've done 2 of those, one in March, one recently in July. When they did those cleanups, the very first cleanup, they didn't find any of these around. Found a lot of fast food stuff, but none of these. And the most recent time, they found 4 of these bags. So I wanted to share that data with you all. And we also have regular volunteers doing cleanup around 550 West Washington, as well as court-ordered volunteers completing their services through this service. And then finally, I believe, Mayor, you asked that we reach out to the local businesses specifically. And it was said that now is the time to go above and beyond. And so we sent notices to all the local businesses sharing about who we are, what our services are, the new regulations. And then we personally visited each and every one of those businesses. You can see some of the pictures here of those visits. And we got really great feedback from the businesses who have seen the positive impact that our security team have been having, have been seeing the positive progress that people have been making. I think ultimately it's super important to realize that we have less people in and around our campus who are unsheltered because people who are unsheltered have engaged with us and understand that in order to continue with services, that's not a place that they're allowed to stay. It shows the respect that they have for the services that we provide. It shows the result of treating them with dignity and compassion. And when we think about the amount of people we've gotten into treatment, that shows the impact of having a place for people to go. And we know that there's a lot of work to do, but as we create those places for people to go and we work with them directly, we'll be able to further drive down the number of people experiencing homelessness here in Escondido. So we appreciate the partnership with business in this work. Really appreciate the community support. We have some supporters here tonight. And we're just very thankful to work in partnership with council, mayor, city staff, police, and appreciate the time to share tonight. If you have any questions or anything, I'm happy to address them. Otherwise, thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you for that. First off, thank you. I know some of our demands were a bit of a tall order, and I appreciate you following through on every single one of those. I know last time we were here, I said I had businesses reaching out to me in the general area who were upset at the loitering or the trash or whatever the case might be. And I told you in our meeting yesterday or the day before that I have not received any of those phone calls in basically this entire year. So I think that what we are doing together here is working. I also want to note, I know it was more than just the people inside of Escondido, but 58 at least being willing to take the first step, which is often the hardest, and 49 completing that and moving on to something else, I think is something that really needs to be celebrated. I think it shows that the program is working and what we are doing is working. So thank you for that. Thank you for all this good work and for the report, and I will turn it over to my colleagues.
Yes, thank you for the thorough report. I really appreciate it. And I just think you've done a phenomenal job in keeping your word and tracking and your reporting. So I really appreciate it. And it's great to see such a good success rate. So again, thank you for what you do.
Great presentation, great results. And to go from 0 to 4 bags, give me a break. That's very little, all right? So that was one of the concerns that we had. I expressed, I do business with the businesses around right there, so I see them on a regular basis. And not only have I received information that it's much better and much cleaner now that there have been indications from the city what needs to be done and you following through with that, it's making the positive impact that was lacking prior to that. So thank you for the work that you're doing. You're keeping up with the cleanliness that needed to happen. Coming out a couple of times, I think you said a couple of times you've done it already, having just the general cleanup around, that's great. I won't name one of the businesses that I was specifically talking about, but it was in your pictures right there, and I was very happy to see that and to read the quotes from those business owners. Very good. Just thank you, and I'm happy that we've been able to make such an impact with our community here, our unhoused community specifically, that have been able to be helped, that need the help. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll echo what my colleagues have said. Thank you so much for everything, and for working with us through difficult times. I think everyone that's been involved in it kind of understands the payoff of working through it and working through it together. So thank you so much. And then thank you to your volunteers as well. I think they're oftentimes unsung heroes, so thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for coming
much.
out tonight.
Thank you. These are going to go to the people who need them tomorrow. But next time I'll bring you lunch, Councilmember Garcia. Thank you.
What we should do is go and pack some of them.
We would welcome that anytime.
All right, next up under presentations is a report from our San Diego County Water Authority esteemed board member, Mr. Rick Paul.
Well, thank you for that introduction, boy. Mayor, Council, thank you for having me. I didn't prepare a presentation for tonight. I want to say a couple things, though. I want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve my community. I really appreciate it. And also, I send you a monthly report, and I know you read it because I get questions sometimes. But if you have any comments about that, how you'd like me to change it or modify it, and then I'll take any questions you have, some subjects that you might ask about, maybe the ag rate, our new operations center going in Escondido, our relationship with Metropolitan, how we have too much water, the Delta conveyance, any of those topics. I'm here to take questions. Or anything else.
Yeah, can you expand a little bit? Well, thank you, first off. Can you expand a little bit on the ag rates? Because I did have a couple questions on that, and you just brought it up. So I don't have anything specific, but if you could just expand on it, please.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, so we try to, I'll use the word subsidize water rates to agricultural businesses. And this year, staff wanted to pretty much cancel that program. We're searching for funding for that. We've got staff to say, yes, they'll look at preserving it, and they're meeting with the Farm Bureau and trying to come up with some ideas. and we've directed staff to create a subcommittee of area managers, maybe Kyle might be on that board, I'm not sure, to try to work out a consensus agreement. I think there's a majority support for continuing the program. The only thing we have struggled with is how much money to give the farmers. It costs our other ratepayers in order to subsidize the farmers, so we have to try to balance that. But I think we have a majority in support of working with the farmers and trying to keep their rates as low as possible.
How much of an impact does that have on Escondido compared to the surrounding areas?
I think there are 11 agencies that have participants. I want to say Valley Center has the most water that goes to Valley Center, and then I don't really have a breakdown of each city beyond that. It's 11 of us in total.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, that was easy tonight. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your updates. They're very thorough. Keeps us informed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, do we have a report out of closed session tonight?
Thank you, Mayor. No public report on 2 items. On the third item, the Flatiron case has been continued to next week. That's it.
All right, and non-agenda public comments?
Yes, we have a few. We'll call them forward in a moment. Just for the public's edification, anyone who wants to speak on non-agenda items, you can fill out one of these yellow forms and submit them to myself. Also, if you do want to speak on any items that are on the agenda, you can fill out the same form and submit it to myself. Before I call you forward, we also, just as a reminder, we do have a decorum policy for when we're addressing the council and in council chambers, just to maintain respect and obviously have the First Amendment to speak freely, but just doing so in as respectful tone as possible. So with that being said, we're going to go to Stephen Wheeler, our first speaker.
I am Stephen Wheeler, a District 3 city resident. Honorable civil servants, I speak today to comment on last week's immigration reform letter, as well as offer what the discussion looked like from my seat. I finally got the time this week to digest the letter's first revision. I must say it was pretty good, and I look forward to the next iteration, incorporating the excellent edit recommendations from our Escondido neighbors for solutions. I do recommend, however, another edit. I ask that we please include supportive reference to reintroducing the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, the Farm Workforce Modernization Act of also 2021, as well as the American Dream and Promise Act of 2021, 2023, and yes, we have an active one in committee right now since February of 2025. I suggest any reference be late in the letter, in a summary paragraph. These detailed, comprehensive immigration reform acts are already written. We are not trying to reinvent the wheel here. I have provided my district representative the first 3 listed acts and can only presume our council has had a chance to review. So thank you for your letter on that letter. I was pretty antagonistic to it in the past, and I just offer you a little more specificity. This language is in writing. Regarding what the discussion looked like to me, addressing Councilmember Fitzgerald, I noticed last week at no time during a District 4 speaker did you even offer a respectful acknowledgement of your constituents by simply looking up. Body language speaks volumes. And I must say I was watching you today, ma'am, and by finger count, you never looked up from whatever devices you got back there for more than 3.5 seconds on average. You almost hit 5 twice. Body language speaks volumes. Resuming also, Councilmember Fitzgerald, regarding your vote to abstain last week, assuming it was not predicated on any conflict of interest recusal, shame on you. You seem to lack the fortitude to openly vote consistent with your personal convictions. This is what I expect from a follower and coward, and suggest you may have chosen the wrong career path. I'll close with, Honorable Mayor, I remain awaiting your invitation in effort to return my faith in our local government and your veracity. On 48 hours' notice, I will make myself available for a dialogue. The city has my email address. With respect to you all, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Our next speaker is Courtney Cabral.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Courtney. I'm the president of the board for the Escondido History Center. I'd like to take a moment to encourage everyone to join us this year at the historic Grape Day Festival. It's a tradition that has been a part of Escondido since 1908. It's a celebration of our city's heritage with food, entertainment, and activities for all ages. This year's festival will take place on September 13th, 12 to 6 p.m. at Grape Day Park. Your presence and support will help keep this a beloved tradition alive for future generations, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you all.
Our next speaker is Melinda Ross Santa Cruz.
For the record, my name is Melinda Ross Santa Cruz, and the timing for this couldn't be better. I support Councilmember Judy Fitzgerald's use of the CBP Home app that pays $1,000 for illegal immigrants to have peace of mind. At the last meeting, to see 4 council members throw away the country my ancestors fought and died for was truly appalling. For the 3 Hispanic council members, Americans voted for Ronald Reagan on the promise that he'd end illegal immigration. He granted amnesty to 6 million illegal immigrants against the will of the people. Americans voted for Pete Wilson and Proposition 187. Prop 187 denied welfare, yet today, 69% of Hispanics in California receive benefits. That's state statistics. Instead of encouraging your people to be someone we'd want to have here, you gloat when patriots get kicked out of office. Gangs, taggers, illegal fireworks starters, people who curse at city council members. You don't complain about that, but you want masks taken off of ICE agents when activists have posted their pictures and their addresses so violent people could show up at their homes and frighten their families. Your sense of entitlement is what led to the rise of President Donald Trump. Be grateful for the country you live in. Not everybody is going to get a piece of it. And Mayor White, you should have enlisted in the military to pay a price like my father did, so you wouldn't be willing to hand our country over to people who have no allegiance to it. Thank you.
No further public comment on this item.
All right, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Tonight, items 1 through 4 are on consent, and if nobody has any changes to that, I'll go ahead and move to approve the consent calendar with second. Thank you.
Voting is open. Motion approved, 4-0.
Okay, that brings us to item 5, which is the implementation and financing of the Citywide Energy Roadmap.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Deputy Mayor's not here, sorry. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Chris McKinney. I am Deputy City Manager and the Director of Development Services. I'm here just to introduce Tyler Gertman and Ashley Lowe of Climatech Energy Services. You may recall back in January, on January 29th of this year, they gave you a presentation presenting a preliminary assessment for the citywide energy roadmap. And at that meeting and in subsequent meetings, you directed staff to work with Climate Tech to develop a detailed energy roadmap and also to develop options for financing the projects that would be implemented under that roadmap. So if I could get the first slide, the recommendation slide. So before I turn it over to Tyler and Ashley, I'll just let you know that the purpose of today's meeting is so that you can conduct a public hearing and consider adoption of Resolution 2025-107 that would implement and fund the Citywide Energy Roadmap by approving a First Amendment to the Energy Services Agreement with Climate Tech and also approving a lease purchase agreement with Bank of America Public Capital Corp. That lease purchase agreement will be the primary source of funding for the projects moving forward.
Before you keep going, I'm going to open the public hearing.
Thank you. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to Tyler and Ashley. Thank you.
Mayor White, members of council, City Manager McGlynn, members of staff and the community, thank you for having us here tonight. We're really excited to share the culmination of our efforts over the last 18 months to develop your citywide energy roadmap. As Mr. McKinney mentioned, we were here in January for a study session and received feedback and direction from you on how you would like to finalize that program. And tonight we're here to share that with you and to talk about what the next steps would be during implementation. The program goals that were listed in your RFP and that have been, reinforced by all of the city departments involved in the development of this program are really about modernizing failing infrastructure and improving the efficiency of the technology and the infrastructure that you have throughout the city. This is for energy, gas, and water infrastructure. Part of doing that will, of course, help to support your efforts to eliminate the structural deficit by reducing your operating expenditures, but also by infusing other funding sources that can pay for themselves through savings. You're relieving your capital budget pressure. Another cornerstone of the program is about helping you to achieve your climate action initiatives. Part of that is implementing renewable energy technology that will help you to hedge against rising utility costs. This shows you what our process has been to date. The RFP process that we were awarded was back in March of '24. And since that time, our teams have been working together with various departments to conduct a utility analysis to understand what you're spending on all of your meters throughout the city for utilities. We've conducted in-depth investment-grade site assessments for all of your infrastructure and facilities. We've developed a preliminary scope of work, which we shared with you in January, and then since that time, we've been working to refine that, to just make sure that we have, that we've identified what your top priorities are, and putting it together in a way that can give you price certainty and timeline certainty. So this is a program that will be implemented under a not-to-exceed price. Over the last 4 months, we've been working with your legal team, finance team, financial advisor, and Christina's department to finalize the funding plan and the due diligence and the legal review of that. And so tonight we're here to share all of those final findings with you. This is a recap of the utility baseline that we had shared previously. The city spends $9 million per year on gas and electric. This is between your general fund and enterprise facilities. And the pie chart on the left shows how that all kind of gets spent by the various funds. Over the last 5 years, rates have increased 40%. So this has really made the cost of doing nothing in this area more of something that the city really is looked at as something that you have to do rather than a nice to do, because the cost of doing nothing is just too great. The anticipation across experts across the state is that the rate trends are going to continue as more and more utilities are looking to go underground. Insurance costs are on the rise with wildfire mitigation. All signs point to that the rate trend is going to continue. So this program is coming at a good time to help you get ahead of that.
When you look at the comprehensive infrastructure renewal program, really it focuses on these 8 categories or 8 buckets in terms of priorities for the city of Escondido. Everything from HVAC, building automation, some of the old systems there, all the way to the wastewater improvements at your plants. One key important element that we focused on too was microgrid systems for the remaining critical infrastructure to keep the city up and running when power is down from SDG&E, and the islanding mode of those facilities was a key priority, which is included. In addition, a lot of the components here are helping the city really get up to par with the state mandates, especially for LED lighting, removing old refrigerants that are banned, and really propelling the city into the future. Specifically, the scope of work, some things that have been added since the January presentation. A lot of it remains consistent with what we shared prior, but what was added is a few more buildings in terms of HVAC and building automation systems. And again, that building automation system controls your heating, cooling, lighting, those types of systems. Those were added to the program due to priority from staff. In addition, a central plant modernization here at City Hall in this entire facility. The system is of age and needs to be replaced, and so we'd be modernizing that system and bringing it up to newer technology, high-efficient chillers, et cetera. So really a big undertaking there, as well as providing microgrid systems so that the power and the system and the central plant can run without SDG&E. The lighting is very similar as well, and then I mentioned the microgrid systems, and the solar PV and the EV charging remained consistent with the scope that we shared prior. In terms of the water treatment plant, that stayed the same, modernizing the pumps and any pumps that are remaining that Reed and the team identified, along with VFDs, which allows the pumps to modulate and obviously save energy. For the wastewater treatment plant, working with the team over there with Kyle and his team, really modernizing and diving deeper in terms of that infrastructure. And one of the key components is the baffle systems that we added to the system, which is a deep infrastructure modernization at your site. In addition, the blowers were added to the program as well, which will provide substantial energy savings, and those blowers are at the end of their useful life. The blower allows to pushes air into your basins to really help with the processes of the solid waste.
The funding plan summary that you see here is basically showing you what's the total program amount, so that's the not to exceed.
Could I have you turn your microphone back on?
Thank you so much. This slide gives you just an overview of how we're approaching the funding plan, and Christina will dive into it deeper in the slides that follow. So the total program includes all of the infrastructure modernizations that Tyler just reviewed. That's a not to exceed price of $55.9 million. The range that we shared back in January, we anticipated that the program was going to be anywhere from 50 to 70 million. So we're glad to be on the lower end of that spectrum and still actually giving you more work than we thought originally. The life cycle savings are what these new systems will generate over their useful life. That ranges anywhere from 15 to 30 years, depending on the system. It's $83.6 million for life cycle savings. The funding sources, as you see here, include guaranteed savings. Guaranteed savings will be realized over the life of the equipment after construction is complete. So there does need to be a shorter-term funding source in the near term to be able to pay for the improvements during construction and in the earlier years when they're online. So the city has identified a contribution from a few different sources and a lease purchase agreement from Bank of America, which Christina will dive into.
Thank you. And for the record, Christina Holmes, Director of Finance, and over the next few slides, we'll walk through the funding plan. So on the slide, the table on the bottom left shows the total projects by fund. As you can see, the total project costs are primarily for general city assets. Those are owned by our general fund at a little over $36.8 million. Total water fund costs are $5.4 million, and wastewater projects total $13.6 million. As Ashley described, the guaranteed savings will pay for the program in the long term, but in the short term, a combination of city contributions and financing will be used to pay for the program during the course of construction, and in the earlier years post-construction to allow that time for those savings to accrue. And the slides that follow will review the details of how this funding plan will work. But as a summary, an initial cash investment from a combination of workers' compensation, internal service funds, and Measure I amount to $10 million, which leaves $46 million to be funded from an equipment lease purchase agreement. Thank you. So for that city contribution, we took a look at the Workers' Compensation Internal Service Fund. This fund was created to accumulate resources to address workers' compensation claims. The current fund balance of $13.5 million is based on an actuarial recommendation, those are resources we've accrued over the years, projecting the resources needed in a worst-case scenario model. You may recall from previous budget cycles, beginning back in fiscal year 2024, the city changed the methodology for accumulating resources in all of our internal service funds, moving from a worst-case scenario model to an experience-based approach. So we looked at the prior 5-year average of what our actual expenses were incurred in each one of those funds. So staff have performed an analysis and review of this fund and are confident that there are enough resources to cover workers' compensation claims and utilize that $7.8 million of this fund balance towards the $10 million cash contribution for this program with Climatech. In the fiscal year 2026 operating budget, the Measure I Local District Tax Fund included $4 million budgeted for the Climatech Energy Roadmap program. Staff are recommending utilizing $2,125,880 as part of that initial city cash contribution. $1,722,828 is also needed for the first debt service payment, which will be due March of 2026, which I'm going to discuss on the next slide. In March of 2025, at the City Council Vision Workshop, Council authorized that staff move forward with a solicitation process to select a bank for the lease purchase agreement. Staff worked with a consultant, CSG Municipal Advisors, for that process. 6 banks responded to the city, and after reviewing the proposals and terms, Bank of America was selected as it had the most favorable terms and value to the city. So the proposal is a tax-exempt lease purchase agreement of $46 million between the city as the lessee and the Bank of America as the lessor. The interest rate is a little over 4% for a 20-year term. Bank of America, as part of the loan agreement, will have a security interest in the equipment to be installed by Climatech only until the lease is paid in full, in which case those assets revert back to the city. And so those annual interest payments are a little over $3.4 million, and I mentioned that first biannual payment would be due March of 2026. In future years, savings confirmed via the measurement and verification process for the general water and wastewater funds, which are guaranteed by Climatech, will be used to cover the annual lease purchase payments. During construction, which is over the next 3 years, savings will be insufficient to cover the annual payments. So staff recommend budgeting Measure I funds in the future years to fully fund those payments. Savings will grow on an annual basis, and we will start to see some savings in the initial year as each one of those projects goes online. Staff recommend budgeting Measure I funds necessary to cover the remaining lease purchase payment after confirmed savings are applied each year. The Measure I funding that's needed will decrease year after year as those savings grow until the savings exceed the annual payment, which Climatech projects to be around fiscal year 2036.
A little bit more about the guaranteed savings process. Basically, what you see here gives you it's an excerpt from a report that was done for a pilot program back in 2010. The city did a pilot program for a guaranteed savings program and had it third-party validated after the measures were on. We were fortunate to work with the city for that program as well. And after those measures were online, the third-party report showed that the guarantee was achieved by 178% of what was promised. This type of reporting process and validating the savings after measures are on is the same way that this phase of work would also be approached. And how the performance guarantee works in the agreement, which is included in Exhibit 1 as part of Attachment A in your packet tonight. What it states is that Climate Tech is assuring the city that the savings will be enough to pay for the cost of the program. And on an annual basis, we will measure and monitor that and provide you an annual report. If the savings did not meet what we expected, Climate Tech would be responsible to install additional measures on our dime to help make the balance of that shortfall. If in the very unlikely event that the savings still did not come to fruition and you were not made whole on your investment, Climate Tech would be responsible to pay the city the amount of the shortfall. Basically what it's doing is it's guaranteeing that the debt service payment is paid through savings so that there's not an impact to the general fund. In fact, the way that the funding plan is structured is to provide not only enough savings to pay for the payment, but also a net positive impact back into the general fund. Beyond staying on board as a long-term partner after construction to measure and monitor the savings, we also look forward to partnering with you in your efforts to engage the community and share your story about this great work that you're doing. Because these are improvements and infrastructure that oftentimes the community doesn't see, it's helpful to be able to have a platform to share about the kind of work that's happening within and behind your buildings and underground and throughout the city. So we will be able to help you with developing a microsite that you can share the results of the measures that were implemented and the savings, ribbon cutting ceremonies, helping the city to apply for awards and climate action recognitions associated with this great work. Not only is it good for the community of Escondido, but it helps to serve as a model and encourages other cities throughout the area to follow suit as well. After your consideration tonight, if authorized, the financing will close and fund escrow next week. It's set to close on August 28th. After the financing is closed, we would be with our engineering team, our project management team, and all of this applicable city departments conducting a project kickoff meeting to coordinate these efforts. There's a lot of coordination that goes into coordinating an effort, a citywide program like this. So that kickoff effort would happen in September, and then during the fall, we would complete the very final stages of design to get submittals completed, permitting, and then procure the equipment. The procurement period for equipment is different for each kind of measure. So the construction duration is dependent upon that. That's why you see a range here of anywhere from 24 to 36 months. A lot of the measures will go on pretty quickly, like lighting and HVAC we anticipate will be less than a year, but some of the other improvements for water and wastewater and solar will be the greater part of 24 to 36 months, just because of some of the components. We'll also be working with your finance team to help obtain grants for any of the measures that are eligible for funding. One program of interest is the Inflation Reduction Act. The city is right on the tail end of being able to meet the deadlines for that to still be applicable, to still be eligible for the Inflation Reduction Act incentives. And what that means is that you'll be able to receive approximately a 30% rebate for the solar and for the EV charging. The financial advising team anticipates around $3.5 million or so that could come back in the future, and you'll be within the deadlines for that. Christina?
Thank you. So that concludes staff's presentation. We are requesting that City Council approve resolution number 2025-107, authorizing the first amendment of the energy services agreement with Climate Tech, as well as approval of the lease purchase agreement with Bank of America. We're available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any public comments? No
None.
public comments on this item. All right. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you to staff for all this hard work. This is a pretty significant overhaul of our infrastructure, and we're talking tens of millions of dollars here. I think you pretty well explained the savings guarantee, but can you explain in a little more detail the not to exceed price guarantee?
Yes. So Climatech is part of this effort. We do what we did in January was presenting to you the preliminary assessment. At that point, we've done probably up to about 90% of the engineering that's required, but not the in-depth engineering that would be required to get firm pricing and actually knowing a timeline of when you're looking to move forward. So that's why at that point we had a range. Between that time and now, we've actually walked to subcontractors and done all of the steps that would be required to get firm pricing from the trades that would be involved in the scope of work. And then Climatech itself is providing a guarantee that that's a not to exceed. So what that means is, at this point, if there's any unknowns that are not explicitly listed in the exclusion, and there's very few exclusions in the agreement, that responsibility would be on Climatech. And because this is all we do is public infrastructure, energy modernizations, we're pretty good at it and have a good pulse on what the current market pricing is, and feel confident that we can deliver that under that price. With very, very minimal contingency as well. So we're confident in that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So it sounds like come hell or high water, the city doesn't really have anything to lose in this case. And when you look forward 20 years, should the voters in 20 years choose to not renew Measure I, this is just another thing that sets us up for success and tackles that structural deficit that the city's been facing for so long. So I am very supportive of this. I look forward to it being completed. One last question. We saw the list of the projects. Were there more that did not make it onto this list, and how did we prioritize those?
Yeah, there were quite a few more. It's overall about $150 million in need. This is only taking about a third of that, obviously, with the $55 million. So this was prioritized through multiple conversations and collaboration with city staff, looking at the systems, the steps, and the phasing that they need to go into to even get to the next phase of deeper implementation.
Okay, perfect. So I said that was my last question. This is my last question. We went over the financing, and just for the public's sake, was that the best rate that we were offered out of the 5 or 6 applicants?
It was. Out of the 6 proposals that we received, yes, it was the best interest rate, best value to the city.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. That concludes my questions. I'll open it up for discussion.
Yes, thank you. Great presentation. And yes, I agree with the mayor. Great use of the Measure I funds. Ultimately, it's to benefit the city, the people of the city. Great investment. So I did like, one of the things that I recall from the last presentation was just how we kept deferring all the repairs and things in the infrastructure. And with that, it's just like a money pit, and people have to kind of think about that too. It's a lot more money spending it into that way than it is just taking care of it now and then saving it in the long haul. So I know on slide, I think it was 10, slide 10, if you can bring it up. Let's see. Yes, and this is such a good picture for those that just need to be reminded, the cost of the program, also the savings in the manpower of having to go out and constantly be repairing those things, and just the life cycle savings is such a benefit. I really appreciate that. Could you go to slide 11 as well? Okay. So funding sources, good use of workman's comp. I think that was very good use of the funds. The return on that is going to be fantastic. So I really appreciate just how creative staff was in being able to find creative ways to fund this and still not impact workman's comp, because it's still an excellent balance in there. So good job to staff. great presentation. I like the guaranteed savings, and I really will appreciate the annual report. That's going to be very important, not just to us, but to the community. So thank you.
Enjoyed the presentation. Have had the opportunity to see it now a couple of times. So all my questions have been answered very thoroughly, and I really look forward to upgrading our infrastructure, which is very, very necessary here in Escondido. So thank you so much, and look forward to some wonderful years up ahead. Thank you.
Thank you for the information. Great presentation. I do have 3 hopefully quick questions. Can you go back to the slide regarding the loan that we have from Bank of America? Okay, and let me ask a question to Climate Tech first. Do we have any anticipation of any of this equipment or infrastructure being lowered or lowering of these prices in the future or near future? I know I'm asking you to look into a crystal ball, but do we have any anticipation of lowering rates of any type of solar panels or anything like that?
A good question. In terms of when you look at renewable energy, whether maybe the panels might come down in price, I doubt it, just with the way the cost of construction is going post-COVID, and especially with wildfires and other things in terms of infrastructure cost. But just even looking at steel price increases have gone up over 50% over the last 5 years, and just that is what is supporting the solar PV, things along those lines to your comment. And so we don't see the prices going down. We see them more so going up. So when you look at this type of project over the next 2 or 3 years, you're essentially doing $55 million worth of work at today's dollar and locking that in as it's implemented over the next couple of years.
Okay. And that's what I expected, and
That's what we're
answer
seeing.
I anticipated.
Exactly.
So I asked that because I want to emphasize why it's important that we act on it and front load as much as possible now before prices go up. So I appreciate that. Second question I have is the 4% that we're looking at here, 4.02. And we talked about this before, but how does this compare to other loans of similar projects in terms of the rate that we're looking at?
That is a great question. I would have to look into our current debt portfolio. Truly, the only other loans the city has outstanding are related to our water and wastewater projects, and those are primarily state revolving fund loans. Okay. So the interest rate likely might be a little bit lower because those are specific state programs. Sure. But I can certainly give you an answer at a later date.
Okay, thank you. And then the last one is we also look at the collateral for the equipment, and you said that the banks will hold on to that essentially until
they'll have a security interest in the equipment while we are making those debt service payments, and then that security interest is released once the loan is paid in full.
And that's pretty typical for projects like this. Okay. All right, that's it. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
Like
you.
I said in the beginning, this is a tremendous overhaul of just a part of our infrastructure. And I think that we've bore a tremendous cost by not doing this sooner. So with that being said, I'll make the motion to approve the implementation and financing of the citywide energy roadmap and ask for a second. Motion and second. Let's vote.
Voting is open. Motion approved, 4-0.
All right. Thank you, Climate Tech. Thank you, Jessica. Christina, sorry. I did that last time, too. On to current business, the public art work plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Jennifer Shenik. I'm your Director of Economic Development for the city. And with me is my colleague, Sandra.
I'm Sandra Aguilar, Management Analyst for Economic Development.
This evening, we will be reviewing the Public Art Commission Annual Work Plan. In today's presentation, we will go over a review of the Public Art Strategic Plan, how public art is funded. We'll take a look at the successes of this last year's Public Art Work Plan. We'll review what we're looking to achieve this upcoming year and then conclude with recommended action. So the presentation's purpose is to take a look at what was achieved this last fiscal year and take a look at what the Public Art Commissioners have proposed for this upcoming year. The Public Art Strategic Plan was created through the Public Art Commission with city staff and the community. This document guides public art for the city. And in the strategic plan, the vision statement is, we are a city where art inspired by community welcomes visitors and residents, creating a fun and lively environment that celebrates all things Escondido, heralding our past and manifesting our future. The document outlines some guiding values. The goal is to have art in the city that unifies, celebrates, educates, remembers, and inspires. The Public Art Strategic Plan also creates some goals. One, to keep up the momentum around public art throughout the entire year. To make sure the city is communicating clearly with the community and being very transparent through all of our processes. 3, we really want to celebrate public art every time a new piece is created and to take a look at the pieces that we already have in our community. Prioritize community-centric art, catalyze economic development with art, ensure proper evaluation, monitoring, and maintenance of the city's art, and to promote education and community engagement. As a reminder to the public art is funded from land and building development impact fees, not through the general fund. And according to city code, these funds can only be used for new public art, meaning it cannot be used for art maintenance, and there is currently no funding for art maintenance. With that, I will turn the presentation over to my colleague Sandra to review the success of last year's Public Art Commission annual work plan.
Thank you, Jennifer, and good evening, Mayor and Council members. I'll be walking you through the Public Art Commission's fiscal year 24-25 work plan updates. This is the Public Art Commission's first year implementing a formal work plan, so we're here to report on how it is shaping the city's cultural and economic landscape. First, the City Council approved Escondido's Public Art Strategic Plan on September 18, 2024. This plan set the framework for everything that followed and has already received regional recognition for its economic impact. Escondido's Public Art Strategic Plan received the 2024 Excellence in North County Economic Development Award, also known as a DEVI, from the San Diego North Economic Development Council. This award recognizes policies and initiatives that contribute to a more economically competitive region. The fiscal year 24-25 work plan was also approved, building on the momentum of the Public Art Strategic Plan. Access to art information increased through the city's new online public art maps. The Create tool, which empowers the community to help document Escondido's cultural assets, is now available. The postcard, like the one staff has provided to council today, featuring a QR code to the public art maps, is available at front counters in City Hall and distributed at outreach events. Advancing the goals of the Public Art Strategic Plan, this next milestone marked an important cultural first for Escondido. In April 2025, the city's officially celebrated Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month for the very first time. This statewide initiative, launched in 2019, is designed to spotlight the role of arts in economic development, enriching the community, and driving innovation. The Public Art Commission released a grant opportunity through which recipients could receive between $1,000 and $7,000. Through a grant process open to the public, funds were awarded to local businesses, artists, and nonprofits to provide free art experiences to the community in the month of April. 9 projects were selected with $50,000 awarded. The events in Escondido helped generate foot traffic, visibility, and partnerships across the city. It also received the North County Arts Award for Best New Event or Festival in 2025. The city continues to invest in youth and arts education in this next partnership. Through a joint effort with the Escondido Union High School District, the City of Escondido is supporting student mural paintings on the buildings in Washington Park with the assistance of their art teachers. The program has resulted in 6 murals painted in the past 4 years. The painting of these student murals has instilled a sense of pride in the community, and to date, none of them have been vandalized. A part-time staff member was hired in February 2025 to oversee the operations of the Queen Califia's Magical Circle located in Kit Carson Park. We currently oversee 28 volunteer docents. Although funding from this position does not come from public art funds, it is notable as it will allow for the expansion of art education and future programming opportunities at this art destination. In 2025, the Escondido Expressions program reached an important milestone, the painting of the 20th traffic signal box. The program gives stipend to artists to paint various themes on these metal boxes throughout the city of Escondido. With guidance from the Public Art Strategic Plan, our first call for artists was held, and the program doubled with 10 boxes painted in the past fiscal year. The program brings public art to areas that currently lack access to it, often called art deserts. All the designs for the traffic signal boxes were released to the public for voting, and the community was invited to submit comments, suggest themes, and nominate locations where they would like to see art. A large visual impact was made to Escondido's landscape with the next 2 pieces of art. Bellas Rosas, a mural by Charlie Mejia, replaced a mural that was degrading on the side of the Best Little Hair House business located on 2nd Avenue. The new mural is approximately 530 square feet. Hummingbird's Jubilee by Brenda Townsend was installed on the side of the Tamales Juvita building located on Grand Avenue. The artist painted 1,400 square feet with the help of over 40 volunteers. Also on Grand Avenue is an upcoming large-scale sculpture. A 2-step process is currently underway to find a qualified artist and design a sculpture to be placed in the roundabout on Grand and Broadway. The first step is a request for qualifications, which will close this Friday, August 22nd. The request for proposals will open after qualified artists are selected, and the public will get an opportunity to weigh in on their preferred design. The goal is to have the final sculpture installed in 2016, along with companion pieces in each of the districts. The funds allocated to the Public Art Commission's work plan in fiscal year 24-25 represent a strategic investment in Escondido's cultural and creative landscape. With a total of 16 new pieces added to the city's public art collection, the investment enriches public spaces, supports local artists, and contributes to the growth of the creative economy. We will now review what the Public Art Commission would like to work on in fiscal year 25-26. To implement the annual work plan, the following plan process has been developed. On January 13, 2025, the Public Art Commission established a subcommittee comprised of 3 commissioners. On July 14, 2025, the Public Art Commission approved the fiscal year 25-26 work plan before you today for consideration. Art solicitation opportunities for all projects in fiscal year 25-26 work plan would be released through August through October of this year. From November to December of 2025, administrative processes and agreements would take place. In January 2026, installation and implementation would commence and will continue throughout the year. Impact metrics will be collected for every program. Annual reporting on impact will be presented to council. There are 3 areas the Public Art Commission annual work plan is focused on. The first area is art solicitation. Projects in this category are the continuation of the Escondido Expressions program with a minimum of 10 traffic signal boxes painted, the Escondido Creek Trail program, which includes a mural on the neighborhood healthcare building, a sculpture, and 3 to 5 wall murals along the Escondido Creek Trail. The Grand Avenue Roundabout Art Project. This project encompasses 1 large sculpture in the roundabout with 5 companion pieces, and funding for community requests. This is a new initiative with art projects from the community are presented to the Public Art Commission for consideration. All projects must have an aspect of no cost to the Escondido community. The second area is art education. Projects in this category are Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month grants for events and activities taking place in Escondido specific to Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month in April 2026. The Escondido Union High School Student Murals Program to support art students who will be painting on city recreation facilities during June of 2026. And another new initiative, the Banner Program. This consists of light pole banners and street banners with artwork to attract visitors to Grand Avenue during April is Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month 2026 and celebrate art created in Escondido. An exciting new project is the Queen Califia Magical Circle Visitor Center. This project consists of a temporary visitor center to be installed near the Queen Califia space in Kit Carson Park to serve as an educational hub and visitor center. The space would allow for art programming, docent volunteer support, and Queen Califia merchandise to be sold to support its maintenance fund. The third area is deaccessioning. Deaccessioning refers to the formal process of removing certain public artworks from the city's collection. This usually happens when a piece is severely degraded or poses safety concerns, requires excessive or unreasonable maintenance, or is no longer suitable in its current location. The Public Art Commission and city staff will evaluate whether it should be returned to the artist, sold, donated, salvaged, or removed. Two pieces for consideration are the Mercado Grande series. Artist Tamadam Lau created 4 in-ground murals in 2011, which were installed in the 4 corners at the intersections of Grand and Center City. These mosaics have had no maintenance and have held up remarkably well, with the exception of one mosaic. Due to being close to water and high foot traffic, the mosaic has sustained some damage. This type of mosaic should be cleaned and resealed annually. The Public Art Commission will be exploring options for repair or deaccessioning. The second piece is Pillars of the Community, created by artist Wick Alexander in 2000. This series consisted of 9 pillars in various parts of Escondido. Some pillars have sustained significant damage or were completely destroyed due to vandalism and vehicle collision. The Public Art Commission will explore options for relocating the remaining pillars and formally deaccessioning the pillars that no longer exist. Here are the budget adjustments required to be made to the public art funds in preparation for the fiscal year 25-26 annual work plan. In the third column, you will see any funds that were not spent in fiscal year 24-25, and in the fourth column, you will see the requested amounts that include these funds. First, the Escondido Creek Trail project had a $250,000 in carryover, and the request is to increase this project to $310,000. Although funds allocated for this project in the previous fiscal year, it was temporarily placed on hold and no funds were spent. We are now aiming to resume progress and move forward with implementation. Next is the Escondido Expressions Program. The project has not spent all of the allocated funds, therefore no change is requested. The Grand Avenue Roundabout Art Project did not spend its allocations yet, and the request is to increase the project to $550,000 in order to increase the project scope. To establish the Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month grants for fiscal year 25-26, $75,000 would be allocated. The Banner Program is a new addition to the work plan, and the request is that $20,000 be allocated to this project. To fund various art projects as presented by the community to the Public Art Commission, $50,000 are allocated to be distributed throughout the fiscal year. To continue the partnership with the Escondido Union High School District, $25,000 would be allocated to the Student Mural Program. To place the Visitor Center and Education Hub near Queen Califia's Magical Circle, $100,000 would be allocated to the project. This brings the total budget for fiscal year 25-26 to $1,145,628. All remaining funds would be held in the Public Arts Installation Account to be used at a later year, bringing the total in that account to $182,340. Those two added together are the total public art funds. As a reminder, the projected amount of incoming public art funds for fiscal year 25-26 is $399,680. The budget adjustment would be for a total increase of $380,000, with remaining funds placed in the public arts installation account. This is a very profitable year for land and development fees. Therefore, holding on to some reserve will allow the Public Art Commission to tap into this fund in the future as needed. The Public Art Commission and city staff recommend the following action: that City Council approve Resolution Number 2025-110 adopting fiscal year 2025-2026 Public Art Commission Annual Work Plan and authorizing the necessary budget adjustments. This concludes our presentation, and we are here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any public comments?
Yes, Honorable Mayor, we have 3 of our Public Art Commissioners here to speak this evening. First, Patricia Spann.
Are we on? Thank you, Mayor and council members, for this opportunity to speak for our Public Art Work Program. And when I speak of art, I speak not only of the murals and the sculptures, but also the programs that have been listed here. Being part of the committee, it was a work of love, a work of just that we could put something together that would make common sense, that would be good for our community. As we know that when there is art and people come and they smile and are happy and see things and have activities, it helps our community it helps economically, it helps our community. It makes a happier community. And we just feel like we've put together something that is very workable, doable, and aggressive, and also in a savings matter, too. My husband and I had the opportunity to come back to town, well, to leave town and come back and just turn around and see all the beautiful murals here. It just gave me a fresh perspective of what Escondido was and has what we are now. And it's just an exciting time in Escondido, and I'm proud to be part of it. I'm also a docent at the Queen, at the Magic Circle, and the people you meet there are just awesome. We point them towards Escondido, and it just the whole art community is bringing together a better, even safer. I mean, with all the, it kind of pushes out everything else. I think art is just one of those magical moments that a city can encapsulate. And so I just want to thank you for that. And I just hope that you'll support this. Thank you again.
Next, we have Carol Rogers.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and neighbors. I'm really excited to see so many people here who care so much about our community. My name is Carol Rogers. I've had the honor of serving on the Public Art Commission since November of 2023. Being a part of the commission is a privilege and a responsibility. Our work is about more than placing art in public spaces. It's about creating meaningful, lasting connections between people, culture, and space. And we did that last year. We built a foundation that I think is going to allow us to do so much this year. I look forward to continuing support for our arts community and helping realize our shared vision of a more beautiful and more connected Escondido. As you saw, we've made great progress. The strategy, as Commissioner Spann said, of the work plan and the strategic plan has it gives us a structure that it takes to do big projects, to really lean in and have big dreams. So that's been amazing. And everything that we're doing, again, it brings people together. We're supporting artists and we're attracting visitors. And one of the biggest reasons that we're seeing this success is because of the support that we've gotten from city staff. We have almost a full-time and a half employee now, which is amazing. The strides that have been made at the Queen with just a half-time person is unbelievable. Sandra is just a dream to work with. We are so thankful for staff, and we're thankful for you. And again, I'm just going to talk about the future. We can accomplish so much more than we already have. And when I look to the future, something that I would really like to see is that our commission evolve into an art and culture commission. It's a name that better reflects our broader role. The Public Art Commission, or public art, is the core of what we do, but so is celebrating and nurturing cultural life in Escondido. So thank you so much for your time, for your leadership, and believing in the power of art to strengthen our city.
Next, we have Terry Ryan. Oh, yeah, yeah, you can come forward. Yeah. If you want to go after Terry, for sure, because Terry, no. Sorry, Terry, you're good. Oh, no worries. Yeah. We'll get you up next. No worries, Jane.
Time to breathe. Thank you.
I'll call you forward next, James. No worries at all. Yeah, here you go, Terry.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to show my support. I, first of all, would like to say thank you for having me be on this commission for 6 years. It's been a privilege to serve. Good evening, Mayor White, our city council members, city attorney, city clerk, and city manager. First of all, I'd like to thank Sandra and Jennifer for doing an absolutely incredible job. I had no idea the scope of the research and the time and energy that you spent and how you presented it. I am presently chair of Escondido's Expression. I would just like to highlight a little bit about what we've done on our traffic boxes. A lot of our traffic boxes actually reflect the history of Escondido. Were you aware that in 1850, we are number 7 in the state for gold mining yield of $1 million? And there are a number of sites that the gold mines existed. One of our future boxes is going to be painted Auto Parkway and 9th, right opposite Dick's. There's a little smaller apartment dwelling there that was the entrance to one of our gold mines. We also were the leading citrus companies, and it's on the new, Escondido's new box. I'm trying to think of the name. The mail, I can't think of the name, sorry. The post office box that's off of Mission now, that they took an old building, they tried to hold some of the building of the Lemon Sunkiss building to maintain it, but they couldn't do it. It was too fragile, so they had to destroy it. We have a box there that actually shows lemon splashes on it. There's a number of boxes that we will be doing in the future, as I said. I would like to give my support for our program. Our entire program has been a privilege to serve on, and I hope you enjoy the future boxes that we will be painting, murals, and all of our art projects, as Carol said, expanding onto the cultural side also. Thank you very much.
James Stone.
Thank you, and I think everyone on that dais and everyone here is familiar with me, but for the crowd, My name is James Stone. I'm a working artist, a resident of the city of Escondido. Been here for about 20-plus years. I really appreciate everything you guys have done. I just am a little curious if I could have a public answer. You talked about the 9 recipients of the grants for the Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, and you showed pictures of 8. You did not show pictures of 9. And for those of you who don't know, I was the 9th recipient of part of that grant. And I used that money to put on a live glassblowing event at the California Center of the Arts. I invited 5 additional artists who came and displayed their work. We generated well over $3,000 for the CCAE. And I'm just kind of curious why I got left out on that presentation. Does anybody have an answer?
We can't really get into dialogue on that at this particular moment. That's not what the agenda item's about. That would have to be on the agenda for us to respond.
Okay, well.
But we can find out, yeah.
Yeah, it seems kind of strange that they noted the other 8 artists but didn't note me. Thank you.
Next, we have Greg Oliver.
Hello, Mayor, Council. My name is Greg Oliver, and I am probably one of the awesome people that went out to visit Queen Khalifa that they were talking about. And Queen Khalifa is an amazing piece of work here in Escondido. We're certainly lucky to have that installation. I noticed when I was there that she needed a little work, so I would hope that we would put some money towards Queen Khalifa to get some maintenance and some replacement work done, because she is almost as beautiful as she could be. Thank you.
No further public on this item.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer, Sandra. Thank you to the Public Art Commissioners who came to support this item. This is one of those things where you can see the investments throughout the entire city, so it's pretty exciting. And April this year was such a killer month in Escondido. I'm glad to see some investments going into the month of April to make that even bigger. This is an excellent work plan. I can see you guys work very hard on it, so thank you for that. I'm excited to see what happens towards the end of that and what that sets the stage for in the future. So thank you all.
Thank you to everyone involved. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you to the artists, to the planning commissioners. Thank you, everyone. That's all.
All right, a few things. This is something that I have been waiting for a long time, and it keeps getting better and better and better. And driving around town and seeing the murals and now seeing some of the boxes that I hadn't seen, and such vibrant, beautiful works of art is awesome. Thank you for that. A couple of things I'd like to say. I think I would encourage that the Art Commission take advantage of our Sister Cities initiative, because there are some incredible artists that I had the opportunity to meet out there that I think we could work together education-wise. How to make colors that they did hundreds of years ago with plant materials, vibrant colors that hundreds of years later are still vibrant and you can still find. Other things like that in classrooms and things like that. So I would encourage you to look into that, and I'm sure staff can provide you some connections to be able to do that. Congrats on April. I wrote that down right here. That's awesome. I did have a question regarding, like, what's the process, or do you have a process, or do businesses volunteer their walls for murals? How does that work?
So currently we're working on developing a way for property owners to register their walls of interest for artists. So with the creation of the public art map, the digital tool we have, we're looking to see if it's possible to add into that map a place where businesses and property owners can add areas of interest.
Wonderful. So I'm glad to hear that. Now, did I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, but did I hear correctly that we don't have any funds for maintenance of our art yet?
Correct. So this fiscal year, we'll be working with the Public Art Commission specifically on plans and creative ways to fund public art. And so I would anticipate that this time next year, when we come back for the next year's fiscal plan for public art, that will include something related to that topic. So we'll spend the next year really diving into that issue.
Wonderful. And I have a couple of more notes. The decommissioning. Do you look at, when you are considering decommissioning, do you also look at possibly relocating that piece of art rather than you do? Okay, I wanted to ask that. And protection for our Grand Avenue Roundabout art project. We heard of collisions and have destroyed or damaged some of our art. So what's being taken into consideration, or have you gotten to that point at least? What protections are we going to provide for such a iconic piece of art that we're looking for, our roundabout on Grand?
So for that process, we'll be working very closely with our engineering team. They have standards for safety and traffic safety, everything from glare to potential collisions. So we'll be working hand in hand with them through the art selection process, and we're working with our risk and safety team as well.
Okay. Then my last, I'll look at my last note. Let's see if this is my last comment or my next to last comment. I think we're getting to the point as a city that we need to begin to think of, and I'll encourage the Art Commission to begin to think about this, of having a large mural that says Escondido, right? That expresses who we are, that's iconic and creative and inspiring and put together by local artists, and that it spotlights who Escondido is, because Escondido is now on the international map. They know who Escondido is. And I think that would make Escondido so much more of an art destination, which we are slowly working in that direction. So I would encourage the Art Commission to begin to look at that as we move down, as time comes. Maintenance, I already asked. And and the locations. So thank you for allowing me to be able to encourage you, thank you, and give my little, in Spanish we say granito de arena, my little piece of sand to this, and wonderful way to end our meeting.
Yes, thank you so much. Great presentation. I agree with everybody that commented on how wonderful Jennifer and Sandra are to work with. I had the honor of working with them, especially during the Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, along with Carol Rogers, and it was just, you guys just made it such a pleasure, so easy and very helpful. Let's see. So I was going to bring up the funding of the art maintenance, but I also wrote down, noticing that you wrote down that you're going to be having a visitor center or considering a visitor center at Queen Calafia's garden, and you'll be selling items there. So I think that's good. I mean, maybe that's a way to bring in revenue, but I don't know if you already know, or maybe we should look into what that number would be for maintenance to be able to make a plan to see how we could come up with creative ideas to do that, because it is important. If we're going to be putting art up, we need to maintain it for, well, culture and history as well. On the Art and Culture Commission, I like that, Carol, very much, especially if it's going to be something we're going to be doing annually. And again, it's just another thing that puts us on the map as well. To the 28 volunteer docents, thank you for your service. It is needed, it is impactful. What you do opens just a whole new world to some people that wouldn't have access access to it otherwise. So I really thank you for your service. It does not go unnoticed just how important it is that, what it is that you do. Let's see. I had a question. It wasn't brought up here, but I understand that, I don't know if it is still the case or if it ever was the case, but my understanding is that even with those public arts, those spaces, that there still is a permit fee that needs to be paid. Is that the case with these types of art? Or not, public art?
So art that is funded by the Public Art Commission, we waive the fees so that the city is not using its public art funds to pay for the general services. However, we are exploring those policies over the next year.
Okay. So if somebody, well, I'm curious because if there is someone that is willing to donate, provide everything, but the fee might hinder their ability to be able to donate, I mean, it's something that maybe we should have a conversation about or take into consideration if it's a fantastic opportunity to have their art and that's the only hindrance. I'd appreciate that conversation.
We will take that into consideration over the next year, yes.
Okay. But yes, this is wonderful, great job. I think it's a very exciting time in Escondido, a lot of good things happening, and so thank you.
Do you want to offer a motion?
Yes, I motion to approve this, the budget.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Please vote.
Voting is open. Motion approved, 4-0.
Before we move on to the last agenda item, I just want to say, to piggyback off of something that Councilman Garcia said, this morning I was in an interview with Fox 5, and they asked me the question, what would you put down as someone's itinerary if they were coming to Escondido for the day? And I think I spent most of that answer talking about public art and culture and the way we've just embraced that in the city. So I'm glad to see this come to fruition, and I look forward to seeing what's next. Thank you, everybody. Anybody have anything they need to add to a future agenda? Okay.
Hopefully one of my colleagues would like to support me, but I would like to have a discussion about safety measures about e-bikes. I'm hearing from the community concerns about e-bikes, e-bike usage, minors, streets, all kinds of stuff. So I'd like to have a discussion put on the agenda so we can have a discussion and to see about what safety measures can be implemented here in the city.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay, council member subcommittee reports and other reports. We'll start on this side this time. Councilman Garcia.
Thank you to my community for the privilege of serving. That's all.
But that was pretty easy. I have a long list because we did not report out last week, but I'll just give you the nuts and bolts of it. Went to a ribbon cutting for Icon Industries, which is, I don't know how to describe them. They host podcasts and do a lot of media and stuff like that. It was a phenomenal event, well attended, and it's very interesting and cool to see what they do. You can check them out all over social media. They host their own series of podcasts from different speakers. It's quite fascinating. Yesterday, Councilman Garcia and I met with MAC, and I can't remember what does the acronym stand for. Well, either way, we had a great conversation about housing in general and how to bring more housing and affordable housing to the city of Escondido. I met with the CEO of the Wild Animal Park to talk about ways we could collaborate together. And the meeting this morning, the interview this morning on Fox 5, it was more podcast style. It was about a 10-minute interview, and we just talked about all the good things happening in Escondido. So be sure to check that out when it comes out. Thank you, and that concludes my remarks.
Mine would be very short. I have a North County Dispatch JPA board meeting. It'll be next Wednesday, but it'll be before our time here for our scheduled meeting. So I have that next week, and we're good. Thank you.
I'm always happy to report about on new businesses opening up. We had a new business open up at the mall. It's called the Vintage Fit, and this is a very unique store. It actually hires only disabled people that would otherwise have challenges in getting employment in places of that field. So it is a nonprofit. It is used clothes and items. So go shop there, support them. That's what pays their wages, and also donate. That would be very appreciated. Also, we had a ribbon cutting at iTech Pro. They were a business that started here, moved to San Marcos. They expanded, and they realized that, well, they came to their senses and they returned to Escondido. And so we're really grateful for that. They employ, the majority of their employees are Escondido residents and North County. So make sure to remember their name, iTech Pro. On the 12th, I met, a small group of us from Sandag met with Assemblymember Darshana Patel regarding Senate Bill 79, which is a challenge to development. You know, we believe that good planning is the key to a successful community, and spot zoning, the way this bill represents itself, would really destroy the neighborhood kind of climate. So she was very supportive, and so she'll be hopefully representing well and getting other people to come on board. Today I went on a tour of the industrial park that is in my district. And I learned, it was really fascinating, we have 6 million square feet of industrial park space, and that's just the bottom level space. High wage jobs, the majority are high wage jobs. The majority of people there are local. And let's see, manufacturing, medical devices, food distribution. So it's really interesting when you go out there to see just how much Escondido does. And it was with Jennifer Schoeneck, who was here earlier, or there she is in the back, and just looking at ways, going through with the team and finding ways to attract, reach out to other businesses that, again, will bring value to the city, employment, increase the tax revenue, and good stuff happening. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
One more thing, talking about art, this Saturday, the 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Mershop's at the mall, there's going to be a Kids in Arts Discover Escondido drawing contest. So it's really exciting about that. I've been working together with Gente Bonita magazine, with the mall, Paco Pablos, putting this together. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope that you all can make it. Invite your children, your grandkids, your nephews, your neighbors, your everybody that you'd like to invite. It's going to be a wonderful time there. So it's a Saturday from 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. there in the center court at the mall. Thank you.
City Manager?
Nothing to report.
Any other public comments?
None.
All right, then this meeting's adjourned.